So this is what happens when I leave my home. A maid comforting my father like family? The billionaire's voice was sharp enough to slice through glass. He dropped his suitcase, the echo thundering across the marble floor. His eyes, filled with rage and suspicion, locked on the sight before him. But within seconds, his fury would crumble into something he had long forgotten: guilt. Night was cold when the limousine pulled up to the mansion gates. The billionaire stepped out, foam pressed to his ear, speaking rapidly about deals worth more than the property he stood on. His assistant's voice buzzed in his ear until he cut the line, impatient. He wasn't supposed to be back yet. Europe had demanded his presence for another week, but negotiations ended earlier than expected. He had returned to surprise his staff and perhaps remind his father once again that his empire demanded sacrifices. As he walked through the mansion doors, the chandeliers above glittered with gold light. The silence of the vast halls was familiar, almost comforting. He thought everyone was asleep. But then, faint, muffled sounds reached his ears. Sobs drawn by the sound. He followed it past the grand staircase, into the living room. There, under the glow of the lamp, sat his father. The man who had once stood taller than giants now appeared small, frail. His silver hair fell in strands across his face, tears staining his lined cheeks. His shoulders shook with grief, a sight the billionaire had never seen before. And beside him, the maid. The woman he barely noticed as she dusted chandeliers or folded linen. She sat close to his father, one arm around his shoulders, her other hand gently pressing a glass of water into his trembling hands. She whispered words of comfort, leaning close so only he could hear. The billionaire froze. A storm rose inside him. His heartbeat pounded against his chest. His jaw tightened. How dare she touch his father? How dare she step across the invisible boundary between servant and family? Rage surged like fire. He stormed forward, his footsteps loud against the polished marble. His voice thundered, breaking the fragile air. What is the meaning of this? The maid's head snapped up. Startled but not guilty, calm eyes met his furious ones. His father, however, lowered his gaze, avoiding the confrontation. That hurt more than anything else. Finally, the old man spoke. His voice cracked, weak, but carried more weight than any corporate deal. You never notice, son. You never see me anymore. You're always gone. Too busy with the world. Too busy to sit with me. But she stayed. She listened. She saw me when you didn't. The billionaire's lips parted, but no words came out. His father's frailty, his admission of loneliness, tore into him. This wasn't just about the maid. This was about years of silence, years of neglect disguised as ambition. He tried to argue, but his father's words drowned his thoughts. Memories assaulted him, vivid and sharp. He remembered his father working 2 jobs to pay his tuition. He remembered nights when the man's hands shook from exhaustion, yet still helped with homework. He remembered his father's proud eyes when he opened his first office, when he won his first award, when he made his first million, and yet, in all his success, when was the last time he had sat with his father, listened, asked about his day? Now the man who once gave him everything was sitting broken in the arms of a maid. Her voice rose. Steady, unshaken. He doesn't cry for himself, sir. He cries for you. Every tear you see is for the son he feels he's losing, to pride, to money, to a world that tells you love can wait. But love doesn't wait. Love disappears when ignored. Her words pierced him deeper than any insult. She wasn't defending herself. She was defending his father. And that realization stung worse than anger. His father's shoulders shook again. He lifted his tear-stained face, and his words carried the weight of years. Do you know what hurts, son? I raised you to be strong, to be kind, and yes, to be successful. But I never raised you to forget me. I don't need your money. I don't need your empire. I just need my son. The billionaire staggered back as if struck. The strength he had built, the confidence he carried in the boardrooms, shattered in the face of such raw truth. His father didn't want wealth. He wanted his son back. The billionaire's chest heaved. His knees trembled. And for the first time in years, he dropped to his knees before his father. The briefcase slid from his hands, forgotten. His voice cracked, raw with remorse. "Father, I thought giving you everything meant success. I thought building this empire would make you proud. But I see it now. I was building walls when what you needed was a bridge." Tears finally spilled down his cheeks, and the proud man who conquered industries broke down like a child. The old man's trembling hands lifted, wrapping around his son. Their tears mingled in silence, years of distance collapsing in a single embrace. The maid quietly stepped back, her own eyes brimming, but she said nothing. She had been the bridge, the unseen strength that guided a son back to his father. And for that, she didn't need thanks. From that night, the mansion changed. The billionaire still led empires and sealed deals. But each evening ended the same, with him sitting by his father's side, listening, laughing, sharing, and the maid. She remained, no longer just a maid but family, the one who reminded them both of what truly mattered. The halls, once echoing with cold silence, now carried the warmth of conversation and the sound of healing.